Sleep is a foundational occupation. It is something that every single human being on the planet participates in every single night. Getting restful sleep allows our bodies to rest, to recover, and to heal. It allows us to be energized for the next day and to be an active participant in whatever our day may hold. Sleep disturbances are difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, and getting restful sleep. So, what causes sleep disturbances? Well, during pregnancy, each trimester poses its own different sleep changes. In the first trimester, there is excessive daytime sleepiness that can lead to difficulty having enough energy to actually participate in your daily occupations and can lead to personal frustration when you're just so fatigued. In the second trimester, the hormones kind of even out and sleep patterns even out as well. Now, as we progress from the second to the third trimester, excessive need for urination, difficulty finding and maintaining a comfortable position to sleep, and basically having to wake up every time you want to change positions because rolling over is increasingly difficult can lead to decreased ability to get restful sleep. After birth, restful sleep can be difficult to achieve because babies wake up at night screaming and hollering and needing to be changed and fed very frequently. So, during that first couple 6 months, sleep can be incredibly lucrative. Now, while I cannot unfortunately help with a screaming child, I can help for those times when the child is not screaming and you want to achieve as good of sleep as possible. Our brains like associations. We like to associate a certain thing or a certain place with a certain activity or a certain task. For us to associate our bed with a place of rest, we need to ensure that the things that we're doing in the bed are things that are leading to restful sleep. So instead of lying in bed and scrolling on your phone for 2 hours, like I've caught myself doing many times, switching to putting your phone on do not disturb or putting it on sleep mode so that you can read a book or you can do a meditation or you can do a verbal debrief with your partner if you and your partner sleep at the same time. Those can be ways to let your brain know to tell your body to start to slow down and get ready for sleep. I know I sound like a nagging parent when I say that, but unfortunately, sometimes our parents are right, and it really is that we're spending too much time on our phones. Something else that's very important when it comes to getting restful sleep is your bed itself. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out and buy a whole new mattress and a whole new bed set, because that's unrealistic and it's really unnecessary. What I'm saying is to make little changes to make your bed work for you. One of the things that my partner and I really struggled with for sleeping in the same bed was that he would steal the covers because he gets really cold at night and I get a little bit warmer at night. So I would kick the covers off to let myself cool down. And then when I wanted the covers back, they would be nowhere to be found because he had created a little human burrito. So I would be awake, shivering until I went and got another blanket. So after a while of debating what to do about that, we decided to just use different blankets. I use a much lighter weight blanket for myself, and he uses a comforter for himself on his side. This has revolutionized our ability to sleep. He can be a burrito as much as he wants, and I can kick my blanket off as much as I want, and I know it'll still be there when I get cold again. It may not look the most aesthetically pleasing, but it is the most functional way that we have found to both sleep better. So, another thing that we do alongside having our separate blankets to meet our individual needs is we have a lot of pillows, but they're not for decoration. Every single one of these pillows gets used at night. When I sleep on my back, it makes me uncomfortable because of the weight of the blankets on my feet. I have this weighted pillow. I got it from the children's section at Target, but if you have an extra pillow that is kind of small or malleable, you can use one of these as well. I like that this one is weighted so that I can push up against it with my feet without pushing it off the end of the bed. I set this pillow at the end of the bed. I can put my blanket on top of it so that when I'm in bed, my feet can be in their more natural neutral position up against the pillow so that the blankets aren't weighing my feet down. I especially like this when I'm traveling to hotels and they have the sheets tucked in so intensely that you literally have to pull with the force of 1,000 men to be able to get it untucked. Having this pillow at the end of my bed allows me to be in a more comfortable position so that I don't have to readjust as often as I'm sleeping. Now, if I do sleep on my side, I need a lot of supports for my spine and my hips and my legs to keep everything in alignment to make sure that I don't end up out of alignment because that gives me muscular strain and that can be really uncomfortable. I have this king size like body pillow that I use for between my legs to keep my knees from touching together, to keep my hips in better alignment as I'm sleeping on my side. Of course, I have the pillow for my head. I have this, which is actually just a decorative, like half size pillow that I got in the decor section of the store. I just put a pillowcase on it, and I use this to support my arm as I'm sleeping on my side. And lastly, I have this blanket that I use to support my arm and my wrist of the arm that I'm laying on. I know you're probably thinking, Emma, that is a ridiculous amount of stuff. Why on earth do you need all of that? Well, alignment, alignment, alignment. It is so important for good sleep to have good posture, especially if you already have lumbar pain, lumbopelvic pain, or just general sleep disturbances anyway. It is so important to get yourself in a position that is as comfortable as possible to be able to get restful sleep without pain or with as little pain as possible. So, let me show you what I do. While I'm lying on my side, instead of sleeping like this, where I am knees together, so my hips are technically out of alignment because they're in adduction, which means they're coming together. My knees are touching each other, and my ankles are also touching each other. Now, personally, I'm very bony when it comes to my knees and my ankles. So after a while, they actually hurt because the bones are touching each other and they're basically like digging into each other. So instead of sleeping like this, where I end up all curled together in kind of a fetal position, which is not very good for my shoulder, it's not good for my elbow to be in flexion, and it's not good for my wrist to be as flexed as it is right now. Here's what I do. I've got my long pillow that happens to be the length of my entire leg. I put this in between my legs, so then my hips are more straight, so they're in that neutral position. They're not adducted and they're not abducted. My knees are supported but separated. Same with my ankles and my feet. They are separated but supported. Up next, I have my little pillow, which I use to support my arm and my shoulder. I use it in different ways depending on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I have it like this, where my hand can be kind of off of the bed itself, and I'm resting my elbow so that my shoulder is in a more natural position. My elbow doesn't have to be as flexed, and it's still supported. Sometimes I have it angled and propped up on my side so that I can have it fully supporting my entire arm. I've got support from my shoulder all the way down, and I can have my hands curled around the pillow here. And of course, my head is on this pillow. And last but not least, I've got my blanket over here to support my arm. My next recommendation for something to try to increase your sleep quality is a sleep mask. This can block out all of the excess light if your partner goes to sleep after you and leaves a lamp on, or if there's a street lamp outside of your window. This can be really helpful to block out that light. I prefer personally the mask that has padding around the eyes, but there are actually indents where your eyes actually are. For me, that is the most comfortable option. If you don't want to commit to paying for a sleep mask, you can try something as simple as a sock. If you get a crew sock length, the heel portion fits and contours very well against the bridge of the nose, and you can literally just lay it across your eyes and your nose while you're sleeping, and that can also help to block out some of that light. My last recommendation is to use sleep sounds. Something as simple as white noise or rain or a thunderstorm or whatever is calming to you. Use that repeatedly every single night, and your body will start to associate that sound with sleep. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. I hope you learned something useful, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.